for spoilers. I am Adam. I have a splitting headache. I feel like crap. Maybe I just slept wrong. Maybe it's the first sign of an aneurysm. Who knows? But we're here, and I watched Peacemaker last night, so let's talk about that. I like Peacemaker. I do like the show a lot. And I think that some of the jokes that have come from Vigilante... Sorry, I'm opening a soda because maybe it's caffeine related. So, I like the way that Vigilante has been, and I've gotten more accustomed to him. It's one of those things where my complaints about Vigilante come more from the fact that he wasn't what Vigilante was on Arrow, or more accurately, what Prometheus was on Arrow, because, the fact that he's Adrian Chase, that's what kept catching me, was that Adrian Chase wasn't the foil to Oliver Queen, and the foil to, in this case, Peacemaker. He was, this goofy kind of, not sidekick, but secondary character almost. I don't know. But he's grown on me, and I've started to like the character more, to the point where he is one of the more enjoyable parts of the show. In this episode, he got a few really great moments, and I think he's really become the MVP of the show, more so than anyone else. In terms of comedic value, I don't know the actress's name who plays Adebayo. I think she's got the strongest emotional arc of the show, and the actress behind it, who I really should have learned the name before doing this, without her hitting it as well as she does, and really landing every emotional beat she needs to land. That entire thing kind of drives the show, for me at least. So the fact that works as well as it does is a big deal. What else is there? I think that... What's what I'm looking for here? I think that the death of Myrn was, well handled. I think that having the moment of Harcourt, dealing with the butterfly directly was an interesting choice, and I think it seems kind of silly on the surface, but it works pretty well in the context of the scene. I think that between this episode has the most emotional resonance to it, because it's you get so I think that that's kind of the big thing there. What else did I want to address? I think that the big thing of this episode is everything getting into Christopher's backstory. I have a similar complaint about the way they handled it, more that kind of similar to Boba Fett, where I think that the show could do a better job spacing out backstory. At least here we're getting backstory but the thing is, it's similar to Boba Fett, where in Book of Boba Fett, spoilers, Cad Bane shows up, and because Cad Bane shows up, we get this history between Boba and Cad Bane, and it's that's cool and all, but if they don't really explain anything. So if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, that fight means absolutely nothing to you. It's a lot of nothing. On the other hand, here, they don't really give us flashbacks at any point through this show to Christopher and his brother. So, when we get to this, we get one flashback of Christopher and his brother right before Christopher accidentally kills him in a fight that his dad orchestrates. That's the big moment where it's here's his rosebud, but at the same time, who really, at that point, it's not who cares, but it is like, why is this, why did they wait so long to do this? Is, I think, the bigger question. Like, why is it that, they don't layer in a little bit of, like, his relationship with his brother in the way that his relationship with his dad is layered into the show? I feel like that's kind of a missed opportunity. But what are you going to do? You can't really, you can't win them all, I guess. It's a great scene, though, I think. And then the confrontation between White Dragon and Peacemaker and the rest of the team is all really well done, fun to watch. There are a few really great layered-in jokes there. They realize the helmets are being tracked, so Peacemaker has the idea to tie the helmet to the tail of a raccoon. So it cuts away, and then it cuts back, and the raccoon is walking by with the helmet being dragged on its tail. And he goes, what's it called? He looks at him. Economos looks at him and goes, yeah, that's about what I expected would happen if you tried to catch a feral raccoon and tie something to its tail. But it's all really well done and interesting, I think. And I think that two of the best jokes come from, or a few of the best jokes come from Vigilante, again, in this episode, where, he says, now we gotta kill this person, this nurse and this male nurse, and then Economos goes, you can just call him a nurse. And he goes, no, because then if I say it out loud like that, people will assume I'm talking about a woman. And he goes, we're all standing right here, though. And he says, yeah, it still feels weird to have a man referred to as a nurse. And it kind of was, you're a busboy. And, that whole scene with them, with him wanting to kill the three people in the vet clinic is great. And, him going, okay, so when you tie them down, don't use duct tape, because that'll hurt their wrists when they're trying to take it off. And he's like, wait, so you're going to kill these people in cold blood, and that's fine, but you suddenly have ethics when it comes to duct tape. And he thinks about it for a minute, he's like, yeah, that makes sense. That, and then, when they're in the middle of a fight, and Vigilante has to take a piss, and his pants goes down around his ankles, and it's almost like, why are your pants all the way down? He's like, I can't pee when there's something touching my butt. It's so funny. But it's sophomore humor, but it works in the context of the show, and it works very well. What else was there that was worth addressing in this episode? Talked about, all of that. I think that, the death of, the death of White Dragon is also very well handled. Not surprisingly well handled, I wouldn't say, but I would say very well handled. Where it's, I think that having him, and they set it up too in the fourth episode when what's his name goes into the extra dimensional room. When Vigilante goes in there with goes in there with Peacemaker to get the helmets, and they go in there, and he goes, he's got gaps in the armor, and then he runs in with a knife and starts stabbing into the gaps of the armor to break it. It's just a really nice, not callback, I wouldn't say, but I would say, it's good that they laid that groundwork early, and I think that comes from, the fact that, Gunn had written every episode and very clearly wrote it as if it was a TV show. Wrote it as if it was a movie. Because that's the thing, is each episode does, somewhat end on a cliffhanger to get you to watch the next episode. But at the same time, you can make the case that they really don't for these episodes. And I think that's a big part of why this show works as well as it does. So, I think that this is, another great episode. Now, I'm as caught up as everyone else, so I don't know anything that happens past this point in the finale. I'm also not going to watch the trailers for the finale, because I don't want to be spoiled on the finale before watching it for the first time. Be that if DC sends me a screener in advance, or watching, what's it called? Open 9 to 5 daily, wow. If DC sends me a screener, or if I watch it on HBO Max when everyone else does, I don't want to have anything in advance to not taint my viewing, but I don't want to know anything about it going in. And that was the other thing that was really entertaining to me, was that I saw the cow like 3 weeks ago when I watched the episode, and I was like, I don't know what this is. And it's not even like you can Google it, because there's no frame of reference for what the cow is. It's not like it's Starro the Conqueror or something like that, where you can look at it and be like, oh, that's Starro the Conqueror. And they say that in the movie. Like, the cow, they don't say what the cow is. And I know no one out there in the geek fandom world knows what the cow is either, because no one wrote an article saying, like, who is, spoiler, in Peacemaker episode 7, DC Comics history, because that happens anytime they introduce a new character anywhere. And Judo Master had a really good scene in this episode. Had a few really good scenes in this episode too. I forgot about that. He's really been like an unsung great character over the course of this show that doesn't get enough credit, I don't think. Or it's like, you know, when he's sitting outside the what's it called? When he's sitting outside the what's one before? He's sitting outside the convenience store eating Doritos or like Cheetos or something, and they're making fun of him. And then he just beats the fuck out of them when they come out to steal his car, and he makes fun of them the same way to their face. It's so funny. And then his fight with Harcourt and Adebayo is great too. Until Adebayo just tases him for like a solid minute straight, and Harcourt is like, "I think you got him." It is really entertaining, and the show does a really good job of, you know, mixing the humor with the action. I don't really have any complaints, and if you listen to the show, you'll know that's rare, or I don't have too many complaints. I think the biggest complaint would be the fact that they didn't do the big what's what I'm looking for here, the big this headache's getting to me. The big, I forgot what I was going to say, the big, whatever. The headache's getting me, I forget what I'm saying. So we'll wrap up there for this morning. I am exhausted for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why I'm so tired today. You know, the headache probably kept me from sleeping properly. So that'll do it. But here we are. And we're at the end of the show. So I will be seeing, assuming that this is just a stress headache and it goes away with some, Advil and prayer, assuming that's the case, I will be seeing Death on the Nile tonight. If not, I'll be seeing Death on the Nile tomorrow. So until then, have a great rest of your week.